2025 Formula One liveries have just dropped. Okay, we've had the F1 75 live, and it's time to do some ranking. Okay, before we get into the rankings very quickly though, the F1 75 live show. Listen, I was a big fan of this. I absolutely loved the show because it was something a little bit different, you know? And I think Formula One needs to actually do this going forward. It was a great show. It was a good 2-hour show that actually went really fast. And the reason it went fast is because there were so many different parts and elements to the show. And I thought, you know what, I was going to be honest with you, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it or had high expectations, let's say, because I'm here for Formula One content. I don't really care what you throw at me, but I did think it was going to be like a concert, a little bit of a bore fest. We'll see the cars come out, but it will be too much, too many artists and not enough livery, not enough teams, none of that kind of thing. So the fact that we did get what we did, I was absolutely impressed. A couple of things to point out though and note: Jack Whitehall, presenter of the live, okay? Well done, Formula One. They got a comedian in, and it makes perfect sense why they would, because we needed to see the funny side of Formula One. Formula One has actually come across way too serious in the past decade, 10 years, 20 years or so, but it's actually good to see how far Formula One has come. I mean, the guy was busting so much joke. I absolutely loved it. He was ripping into everyone, nobody was safe, okay? So salute to Jack Whitehall, who presented the show, and he just made the show go flowingly really well. He was some of the best parts of the entire evening. And bear in mind, that's a comedian. It's not like he's F1 personality or anything like that. And I know people wanted to see, like, you know, an F1 journalist maybe presenting, or like an F1 presenter like we normally do have in these events. But it was good to have the mix and blend of both, because you need a little bit more humor. It's a show, you know, let's have some entertainment, let's have some excitement, and let's look forward, because I don't know about you guys, comment down below, but after watching this show, it made me even more excited for the Formula One season. Another thing to note in the live as well, guys, the booing of the FIA, the booing of Christian Horner, Max Verstappen. I mean, look, I get it. We're in London first and foremost, so Red Bull weren't getting no love. But I was actually quite gobsmacked. This is a 4-time reigning world champion. You would have thought there would have been a little bit more respect. I get it, with his feud with Lewis Hamilton, and even just the way he carries himself, and his recent feud as well with George Russell. So, you know, if you're going to go against the English, guess what, guys? They're going to take no prisoners, especially in London. But yeah, the booing of the FIA was actually quite peak. And, you know, it's, as much as I enjoyed it and I thought it was hilarious, I did feel a bit like sorry for Mohammed bin Salam. So, you know, I thought, like, you know, let's leave him out of this kind of thing. It's a bit personal. I know there's a lot of controversy at the moment surrounding him, and as well as, you know, the new rules that they've got for the new season regarding, you know, swearing and things of that nature. But look, I'm okay. Aston Martin pulled out all the stops. They brought out Thames. Now listen, Aston Martin, if there's one thing I notice about this team, they are there. They've got their finger on the pulse. They're there for the culture, okay? We've had Stormzy, we've had Dave in that video where they were at Silverstone with an Aston Martin. They're very clever with what they're doing. The social media crew is on point. Even just the way that they entered the building, it was quite comedic. Loving the James Bond stuff as well on there. But yeah, Aston Martin bringing out Thames was pretty special. Alpine also had a DJ that they had just before their livery launch, and people were complaining about how long the DJ was on his set. But two things: I think he was actually booked to have a performance, as well as being Alpine's sort of artist selected, and also this is the person that created the F1 theme tune that we know and hear today. So yeah, Are We Dreaming is what they're called, or what he's called. It's quite a weird one, but anyway, yeah, that's the reason why he got quite a big slot. At first it was a bit like, okay, it's going on a little bit, but I'm not too mad about that. There's other things I could have picked out that I was unhappy with. This wasn't one of them. The lack of Max Verstappen actually talking, or even Liam Lawson, when Red Bull pulled out their livery, yeah, awkward. It was very sharp, very quick, to the point, and they got the hell out of there. And yeah, we'll discuss that in the rankings anyway. The people's champ, however, is Sir Lewis Hamilton. Guys, when Ferrari pulled out, the crowd went mental. Okay, Ferrari, you know, the Ferrari fandom was there. Charles Leclerc got a lot of love as well. Lewis Hamilton got an unbelievable amount of love. That shouldn't be surprising, don't get me wrong, but you know, when you kind of see it, it kind of reminds you, like, oh my god, this guy is the man. He's the number one. He's the Rock of Formula One. And hilariously, everybody looked like they were quite cold. I don't know if you noticed, people were having like overalls on, or they were putting on their blazers but not putting their hands through the sleeves. It seemed a little bit chilly at the O2 Arena. But listen, overall, fantastic event. In terms of the event spectacle itself, I hope they continue to do this every single year for the liveries. I hope that other countries get to witness this as well. I'd love to see how the Americans do it, because they are great at presentation. I'd I'd love to see how they do it in Asia. And listen, get down to Africa, all right? Let's make it happen. But yeah, please, Formula One, do this again next year, because it was actually a really good show and it went really fast, meaning it was quite good. So yeah, I hope they do continue to do this in the following seasons to come. Enough of that talk, let's get into the actual rankings of these liveries. We're going to start from 10th to first place. That means from worst to best. And guys, the liveries this season, I just want to point this out. Thank you, Formula One. Thank you, Formula One teams, for actually getting rid of the carbon, okay? And when I say get rid, as in they covered up the carbon this year. Last year, the year before, we saw so much exposed carbons on people's liveries, especially teams like Alpine. I mean, it was an absolute disgrace. But this season, we saw a lot of color. So just wanted to point that out and say, look, thank you very much for giving us the colors this season. But in 10th place, we're going to start things off with Haas. Why? Why would you change your livery from last year? Last year's livery was so banging. What have you done this year? Somebody explain to me what were Haas thinking this year. I'm not liking the way they've combined the red, the white and black together. They had it spot on last year, and now this season, I'm not a fan of it at all. I mean, look, is it a hard combination of colors to work with? It might be for Formula One, but I don't know, the fact that they're an American team, I feel like they could do so much with their livery, and I was really, really disappointed to not see them enhance last year's livery. Last year's livery was one of the best on the grid, but this season, guys, I'm sorry, I'm having them as the worst. They were a 5 out of 10 for me. I was not a fan of that Haas livery. Oh, and by the way, on Twitter, they leaked the images, right? They leaked, I think, a video before they'd even done the presentation live. So unfortunately, I wasn't at the Formula One live, but I watched it live on YouTube, and I was seeing images come out, or a video, I can't remember which one it was. I saw it come out on Twitter, on X, right? Before the livery had even been launched, and I thought, what are you guys doing? Someone's had a stinker, obviously, clearly. But yeah, the first thoughts when I saw this livery, I just thought, ugly. I wasn't a fan of this, and Haas, man, you've really disappointed me, man. So yeah, they're number 10 in this list. And in this list, Ferrari. Listen, let's get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way very quickly. That HP business all over that Ferrari is madness. Even the overalls was bad enough, okay, to have 2 HP logos. Keep the one up the top of the chest, but the one by the belly button, by the stomach, what were they thinking, okay? Now, they've got blue, they've got white on that HP logo, but surely they could have done something. I mean, this is Ferrari we're talking about here, yeah? We are talking about the red Scarlet of Ferrari. The prancing horse. You cannot just defame images like this, okay? And that's exactly what they've done on this livery. I don't know how much money HP have put into this Ferrari car, but I tell you what, into this team anyway, but I tell you what, I mean, this was just, look at it. I mean, there is too much white going on. The HP logo ain't even that big either, so it almost feels like, can the HP logo even fit to size? It's a strange one, it's a very weird one. Ferrari, I mean, with everything, you know, you've got Lewis Hamilton out there, and by the way, they wheeled out the Charles Leclerc car, which is weird. They had the number 16 on there at the O2. I thought it was a bit of a fumble, but yeah, it's just not on. We are not having this, Ferrari. We're not having this from you this season. Who knows? It might look better on track, but I'm so sorry. The HP business completely ruined the look of that Ferrari. Number 8, Red Bull. Let's just get you out of the way. What were you guys thinking? Look, I get it. They've had good liveries over the years, and in fact, you know, there's nothing actually wrong with this livery. But what am I going to do? Is sit here for 6 years or so, looking at the exact same livery? And you could tell that they were probably embarrassed by the livery themselves, because a couple of things that you noticed. It was more about the video presentation with Red Bull, which went on forever, by the way, yeah? And, you know, shout out to Morley's. I mean, they put Morley's in the video. I don't know what's going on there. They were talking about something about the culture afterwards. I thought, Red Bull, let's slow down, okay? I don't think you guys are. Maybe you are, but maybe you're not. I don't know. I'm not buying it. Let's put it that way. But then afterwards, you know, Max comes out and Lawson's out, and none of them say a word. They do a quick wave and they get the hell out of Dodge. And then they had these dancers all the way through their presentation. These people dancing around the car, by the way, guys. Yeah, so you barely even got to see the car, but you know what? You didn't miss anything. That's what Red Bull were telling us. You didn't miss a damn thing, because it's the exact same thing as the last couple of years. Red Bull, you've had a stinker. You're number 8 on this list. In 7th place, I'm going to go with Mercedes. Now, Mercedes, I don't know what the deal is here. As soon as Lewis goes, now you just want to get rid of the black completely. Now, I know there's a bit of gradient going on there. It seems like there's a bit of black on the back of it. But as soon as you saw the nose of this car, the first thing I thought is, hang on a minute, this is last year's car. What are we doing? But, you know, Mercedes, as soon as Lewis is gone, they just say, look, let's get this nonsense out of here, okay? We're going back to our roots, back to that silver arrows. That's what we're known as. And that's what they've gone back to. And it's just underwhelmed is all I can really say about the Mercedes. I thought they could really do something with this car. But I must admit this. I think it will look better on track. I think. maybe better in the night races, but at the moment, like when I saw it in the stage and everything else and the presentation, and if you noticed as well, like even some of the pictures, you don't really get any clear pictures of the Mercedes car this year, and if you do, it's got like a lot of strobe lights are going on from the stage of the F1 arena, of the O2 arena rather. Like you don't really get much images of them, and I'm wondering whether that's something to note, okay? And even the Ineos, the lack of Ineos on that car, not that it even matters to me per se, but you know, the whole thing of like Sir Jim Ratcliffe trying to buy out Toto's side of Mercedes, or even try to buy out the whole company, and they just emphatically are denying it. There was not a lot of Ineos in this time round, but the car itself, the look, the colors, they could really do something. But I must admit, the Adidas on the suits, yes. McLaren, let's get on that Nike, yeah? Hurry up. If you're loving Formula 1 content like this, make sure you smash a like on the video. And if you're a big fan of Formula 1 and you want to watch more Formula 1 content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. Do yourselves a favor, hit that button, and make sure you turn on the bell notifications as well. There'll be plenty more in store. Back to the video. Now, guys, I must admit the top 5 is the hardest to choose from, okay? Because I had 3 different number 1s, and in fact one of them have now ended up in 4th place. But number 5, Alpine, well done. You brought back the colors, you brought back, you know, the lovely pink that you've had on that car beforehand, and as Tomo said it, the LA blue, you know what I mean? Like you had to bring that back, because what they did last year in terms of their livery was an absolute joke. It was a disgrace. But this year, guys, you have redeemed yourselves. Well done to Alpine. I'm loving the colors, I'm loving what I'm seeing here. So yeah, salute to Alpine. The colors are nice. The only thing I will say though is that it just doesn't seem to flow throughout the car. That's the only thing I noticed. That's the only thing that made me think maybe this isn't number 1, because purely the way that the car is kind of staged, the colors look a little bit blocky. They look a bit like rigid and sort of Tetrisy kind of thing. It just didn't flow well, and that's the only thing I'll say about the Alpine. But the colors and just the look, you know, from afar and looking up around the vehicle, like, yeah, I think it looks tremendous. Really, really good job. Well done to Alpine. You get P5. P4 is Aston Martin. This is one of the teams that I thought might have actually won it, because do you know what? I like that white on top of the helmet, on top of the car. You know, the roof of the car. I forgot what that thing is called, but like sort of the airflow, where the airflow goes into the car. The white kind of was like, okay, something new, something different. You know, I like what we're seeing here. I like the presentation, the whole James Bond thing. It makes sense. I mean, it's an Aston Martin team, for goodness sake. Bringing out Thames was an absolute shock, which was a pleasant shock, because it was a bit different as well in terms of the type of artist. Because they had like Take That, they had MGK, who I don't know what vibe he's on at the moment, and they had like kind of, you know, EDM kind of DJs. In fact, the DJ that Alpine had, you know, was all that techno house stuff. I was thinking, man, this still exists today, but I guess those are the most expensive DJs that are going around at the moment. But well done to Aston Martin. I think the car, look, the car is brilliant in general, and it's a bit of like a Red Bull kind of thing, where they've got the colors right, they've got the flow right, they've got the scheme right, and yeah, there might be a bit more black, there might be a bit more white on that, you know, racing green, but I'm okay with it. Aston Martin's got great colors. The team wear is beautiful. The team kit as well, some of the best in the business. I absolutely love what Aston Martin have done with theirs. They could have been my number 1, but I thought, do you know what? Just for the lack of like variety and change, I had to bring them down to P4. P3 for me, do you know what? This has got mixed reviews. I'm loving that Williams. I am loving the Williams blue, yeah? The thing is, they've gone for a blue that's like kind of a bit, it's like a pastel-y blue, which I really, really like. It's really nice. It's sort of dark, but it's pastel at the same time. It's really nice and rich. The nose, however, towards the nose end of the car, you know, it's a very dark navy blue. Not too sure if I like it, but I do like the whole gradient flow of it. I'm a big fan of what Williams have done this year, and it's just so good to see them have so many sponsors on their car. It's so good to see, you know, the team look happy. James Vowles and the crew, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz got a big reception as well at the O2 Arena, and I think, you know, everyone's sort of feeling for him, especially with the way how things have gone for him in Formula 1, right? And he's one of the most unluckiest drivers on the grid for sure. But yeah, I like the colors. I loved what I saw with the Williams car there, and then the racing suits, the whole like proper white Colgate white race suits to sort of go against that car. It just looked beautiful. I love what Williams have done. Not a lot of people have, but guys, number 3 for me, Williams. Comment down below where Williams should have been. I know this could be a controversial take. Speaking of take, or rather steak, number 2, P2, yes, steak, Sauber, Kick Sauber, F1, whatever they're called these days. You know me, I'll call them as Sauber. But guys, I actually like this. It was the first car that was unveiled on the show, and it blew me away. It took I actually was quite surprised, because the colors are, depending on which way you look at it, depending on what perspective you have, the colors are either great or they're actually terrible. And what they've done with this in terms of a really striking green at the front of the car and then gradient, you know, sort of bringing it to black at the back of the car, I love it. It's different, much better than last season's car. A car, again, that had a lot of carbon on it, even though it had the green color coming out. But yeah, this year they've made it work a lot better. I'm a big fan of the color scheme that Stake F1 have done. Seeing Mattia Bonotto there as well, Bortoletto is there as well, of course Nico Hulkenberg. It's going to be a great season, I think, for Stake F1. I think they're going to be, of course, you know, looking ahead to next season with the Audi livery, and so the green will probably go, you know, the Stake will be gone. So it's for me, I actually thought it was really good, considering all things considered about that team and what's going on with them. Yeah, it was a pretty decent livery. But number one, you've guessed it, the Racing Bulls, Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, whatever you want to call them. Guys, this was a brilliant livery. It is the livery, you can argue, the Japan livery that Red Bull used. But as soon as I saw like the white on this car, and I was like, wait, they've actually changed almost their identity completely, even though it's actually the same as what we've seen before. Like, the Racing Bulls have actually transformed and changed their car, and I think the team have moved in with Red Bull in terms of the factory and everything else. They're no longer in Italy. Now they're actually solely based in Milton Keynes, which makes sense. And you know, look, if you're going to be a sister team to Red Bull as well as trying to be your own at the same time, like, it looks like a Red Bull away kit, if that makes sense. But listen, the colors look good. It bangs, like the red and the yellow and the white, it pops. And then you got the blue in there as well. And even Isaac Hadjar's face as well. You should have seen his facial expressions when he was unveiling the livery there. It was really good, man. Shout out to Munya as well, who done a bit of a video presentation with that. I love the way that they combined those two together. And the Twitter account as well. They are on smoke. Every time a livery came out, they were rinsing the team. So I loved seeing what they had done there. But yeah, Racing Bulls for me is number one, the best livery of 2025. And don't get me wrong, maybe during the season we might have to do like a review of these rankings, because when the cars are on track, it's a completely different ball game. In the daytime, in the nighttime, who knows? But guys, that was my ranking of the 2025 Formula One liveries. Comment down below which one you loved, comment down which you hated. Smash a like on the video if you like Formula One content like this, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty more. But until next time, lights out.